Welcome, welcome. I'm Victor Naraki, a realtor in Central Florida, and today I'm going to be talking to two of my favorite customers who actually bought in the same community. They both came from New Jersey, where I came from, and we're going to talk about their experience working with me and moving to Central Florida. And first we have Stuart and Barb. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So as I mentioned, Stuart and Barb both came from New Jersey, where I'm from, and have moved to Central Florida.
We didn't know each other there.
But we all came together for the same cause of being near Disney. So I want to ask you guys now, what the title of this video is, what makes me, Victor Naraki, the best realtor for over 55 living in Central Florida. So I'm going to throw it to you, Stuart, first.
Sure. Victor really works hard for his clients. I mean, he went above and beyond for us. And something that happened while you were showing us around, I don't know if I mentioned it to you. I don't even think I mentioned it to Darlene and Keith, but Darlene and Keith are friends of ours, and they were also clients of Victor's. We were in Victor's car. He was taking us to see a community at the time. And he got on the phone and he was trying to negotiate a better deal on a home for his clients, which were Darlene and Keith. And he never told them what he was doing. And I think, to me, that was a remarkable sign of a great realtor, that he worked for you behind the scenes and not even tell you how hard he's working for you. I think that's part of your character, Victor. It's just you really work hard, and you're not going to tell your clients everything you do for them, which I think you're doing a disservice to yourself, because sometimes a client might complain that you're not doing enough, but you're really working hard. I've never seen anybody work as hard for their clients as Victor does.
Well, that's interesting. I don't even remember that, but you do have to. Sometimes you can get some extra things for the customer when you're working with new construction. Sometimes you can't, but it's always good to try. All they could say is no, and you can't offend a new construction seller. You can always ask. So Barb, I'm going to throw it to you. Thank you, Stuart. What would make me, the best realtor for over 55 living in Central Florida?
Well, Darlene, who Stuart had mentioned, had recommended you to me.
Oh,
So I figured I'd take a shot. And the first day that you and I were going out together, it was a torrential rain. I don't know if you remember this, Stuart. It was so bad. There was a tornado watch one town away. I think the tornado actually touched down 1 or 2 towns away. But Victor showed up. And I thought that was great, because I was only in town for like 4 days.
Yeah.
And Victor showed up muttering under his breath about the weather. But still.
Oh, it's a good thing it was underneath my breath, because usually I'm very vocal.
And took me to, I want to believe that day we must have seen about 6 or 7 communities.
Wow.
And what I really loved is that Victor listened to my parameters. He listened to what my budget was. He listened to what I wanted in a house. He did not show me things that were beyond what I could afford. And I know in New Jersey, one time I bought a townhouse back there, and people were taking me to places I couldn't afford, or that didn't have features that I wanted, or had features I didn't need or want. Yeah. So I appreciated that a whole lot, that what we saw was right within my sweet spot. And,
Exactly.
So that narrowed the choice down a lot better than just running around the globe,
Well, I know you're wasting people's time if you don't show them what they can afford, what makes them comfortable. Now,
Right.
If it does, I see a lot of agents that take people out, even though they know that they can't fulfill a certain request for them. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's fair to either one of the people in the party. So I try to do that. And that's one of the reasons I became a realtor, was I had people showing me things that were exactly the opposite
Right.
of what was right for me. But as I learned later, after I got my license, that the reason they were showing me it was they were getting an exorbitant commission.
Right.
And it's fine if it's what the person wants, but if it's not, they lost 5 commissions because I've bought 5 houses since then because they weren't listening to me. So what did you discover, Barb, in the experience? Was there anything that surprised you?
Well, you got to remember both Stuart and his wife, as well as myself, we all moved during the COVID crisis. So we discovered a whole lot that wouldn't normally be true during a normal real estate move. But other things I discovered apart from COVID it's just, there's so many moving pieces moving out of state.
Yeah.
And even when you get here, you're changing your driver's license and your voter registration and just so many things that you need to coordinate. Because I've done many moves in my life, but this was the first out of state one.
And Stuart, do you have any observations?
Well, as you know, we bought our house sight unseen. The development was it was dirt when down looking with Victor. They weren't even ready to build. We actually almost bought somewhere else, but realized that because of our children, our daughter specifically, it was a mistake at the time, and we had to pull back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we saw Joe Horton was building here at the Palms, that, okay, this is it. Now it's time. And it was a drawing. That's all it was. And Victor was kind enough to get us through that. And I think when we got down here, and yes, that whole pandemic thing made it very challenging to move. We managed. I think what was surprising to me was when we got down was to see how much we really got for our money.
Yes.
It's just I think we got a great deal.
Well, it's a big difference between Florida and New Jersey.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Taxes alone, in some cases, my customers say they're paying a third in taxes. So it definitely is a difference that way. So any recommendations you have for buyers moving to Florida, either one of you?
Yeah.
I would say my recommendation would be, wherever you're moving, is to really be thoughtful about it. Do your homework, do your research. One of the things I had done is I've been going to Florida on vacation, primarily to the Orlando area, for years. And in my mind, I've dreamed of this for a long time, Victor. And every time I've come, I've explored a different town. And I just drove around. I'd go to the movies, I'd go to lunch, go to a park, what have you. But one of the other things I did was I checked to see what's the healthcare like, what doctors are around, can I quickly access services, not just medical services, but any kind of services. What I liked about Claremont is, we are in a 55 plus community. We are getting older, and we have to look at this as—
Speak for yourself. Sorry.
We have to possibly look at this as the last place we're going to live, right? And what I liked about Claremont when I did my research was that they have a very robust senior citizen program, and recreational activities and all sorts of assistance programs. And I'm thinking, one day that's going to come in handy. And so what I would recommend is to really do your homework, because I've had friends move from out of state, not just to Florida, but to other parts of the country, and not be happy once they get there, because they're kind of like, well, it was great on vacation, but this isn't really what I expected, the highways or the shops, there's no shops near me, whatever. I knew
That's sad.
precisely what roads were in this community. I knew precisely what stores were around.
Yes.
And so
You did
that's
your
what I would
you did your
recommend.
research as well as me working with your research to say you're making a good decision
Oh,
based on your
absolutely,
needs.
Victor. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, one of the things you said to me is you're going to love Claremont, you know?
Yeah.
And it was after you said that, because I've been to Claremont just once in my life prior to that, on my little jaunts. I went to Claremont twice to explore it after you
Good.
had said you're going to love Claremont. I figured, well, let me see. And it really, I just want to say to people out there, it is a charming community.
It is.
It is a beautiful community, rolling hills and winding roads, and it doesn't really look a lot like Florida. But if you want to see the palm trees, you're very close. You can drive 5 miles and you'll see a palm tree.
Well, what I like about Claremont is that it's very accessible, but it's still a little bit isolated from the hustle and bustle. You know, when
Yes,
people come here to stay on vacation, if they stay in the wrong place, they'll go, "Oh my gosh, no, I don't want to live near Disney. You should see where my hotel was." And I'm like, "No, you're not living near there."
yeah, yeah, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. And
I'm 1 mile from Disney World, and you'd think I was out in the country.
right. And I still think, you know, and you talk about this road being built in Claremont, that was the other selling point. We don't have a
Yes.
timeline on the road yet, but once that road is done, it's going to be a 10-minute drive to Disney. Right now, I personally don't think it's that bad. It's
No.
took me a half hour last night to go to Disney Springs.
Okay.
It used to take me 60 minutes to go to the Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, it's going to speed up. I just wish the last time I talked to them, they said COVID was delaying that road.
COVID's delaying everything.
Everything. So, Stuart, do you have any viewpoints on or recommendations to people moving to Florida?
Oh, absolutely. Just to pick up on what Barb was saying, when you can't do enough research. The Orlando, what was important to us was to be close to Disney, but not near the tourists. So, Kissimmee, for example, which may be a great town,
It has some good benefits to it. Yeah.
yeah, we just pretty much automatically eliminated that because we know it's a big tourist area. There's a lot of vacation homes there. We didn't want to be around that. Winter Garden and Windermere, which may have been affordable 5-10 years ago, it was out of our price range, so that was eliminated. So you have to see what the values of the homes are, new and old, whichever you're looking for. Do you need a good school system? If you don't care about the schools, which we didn't,
Right.
that was another aspect that we had to research. Crime was very important to us. We looked at crime statistics. We wanted to be in a community that offered some diversity, and we found that here, which is great also. The road that Barb had mentioned, that was a big selling point too. But I think it was the fact that it was a new community. So you're getting into a development on the ground floor with everybody else. So everybody's on the same playing field.
Mhm.
With a single family home or a villa like we have here, it's all people coming here with the same issues, the same newness. You don't know anybody, so it's friends. Or if you go into development that's established, you're the newcomer. If somebody doesn't like the shirt you're wearing or the way you look, you're S out of luck.
Well, I think that both of you, although you did a lot of research, you were willing to take a leap of faith based on the information I gave you and what you did on your own, and that allowed you to get homes that really fit your needs.
Absolutely.
It's the perfect marriage. I mean, honestly, Victor, you need someone you're comfortable with as a realtor. And I was immediately comfortable with you.
Thank you.
And one of the things that I like about you is that you are not the stuffy business suit realtor.
Really?
You are very casual and comfortable, but very professional.
Thank you.
So So people will go to your website and they'll see you in all these Disney outfits. And by the way, I want a Forky mask. They see you in all these Disney outfits and they probably think, oh, he's just crazy. Well, yeah, he's a kid.
They'd be partially right.
He's a grown-up kid. And I
Well-
love that about you.
Well, I like the fact that I'm making this is a dream for people to live near Disney World. And once I got that niche, my customers changed, and the appreciation of my attitude changed. But still, the paperwork's all done, and and I fight for people to get the right deal, and so. But what I liked about you, Barb, was that when you were sitting down, you brought a friend with you.
Yeah.
And because sometimes people will ask me, well, what do you think about this property? And I'm like, I'm not living there. I told you the overall idea. The individual house is your thoughts. And, so I appreciate it that you brought someone with you. And to be honest with you, I wish I had brought someone with me when I bought my house, because I probably wouldn't have done everything that I did. And Stuart, you guys really helped me understand that other community that you were interested in, because I didn't understand why. I've shown that community a bunch of times and I've never been able to sell one. But it was their attitude there
Absolutely.
that was gave you a negative feeling. And your term was you were being nickeled and dimed to death.
That's right. We were. Everything. If you wanted to change a doorknob,
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. I mean, I could go out and buy my own for a fraction of what they would charge and put it in myself.
Well, I just had my electrician here, and if I had him do the work later, it would have cost me a little bit less than it was doing it during the construction. I'm like going, boy, I paid a lot of extra money for all those little features, and but I wanted this lot. So,
Right.
Anyway, so
But to Stuart's point, I went to that same development. I know what you're talking about, Stuart, and it's a very well-known development. But it's when all is said and done, and all the little this and that is added up, things like a door to your bath, to your commode, and which you think you're just gonna get. Things like that.
yeah.
When everything is added up, all of a sudden the price tag is ridiculous.
You know what bothered me the most about that development? You hit the nail on the head before, Victor. It was their attitude. It was like, you should be grateful that we're allowing you into this development. It's like, no, F you. You should welcome everybody with open arms. We're all equal.
Exactly. I didn't like their attitude.
Victor has been around the block, right? And Victor knows the developers who are good builders. That's the other thing. He kept saying to me, because I remember, you may remember this, Victor, I had one day free, and I said, Victor, I'm meeting somebody for lunch, but I'm going to go to this developer and this developer on my way. And you said, okay, do what you want. But and I said, I'll mention your name, I mean, you'll get credit and all that. And you said, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about you. I'm worried about the fact that they're not necessarily the best builders. And so Victor knows, you may read on Google, rave reviews about certain builders. You don't know if they're the friends and relatives or what have you. Victor knows the good builders. And so I put my confidence in him. I immediately canceled those appointments because I said, he's not saying don't go because of me. He's saying don't go because of you. You don't want to be in those developments. And that's, I think,
well, they probably didn't. I don't remember which one. Thank you. I don't remember which ones they were, but I do remember that I just think that sometimes people have a limited amount of time.
Right.
And I don't want you to drive in there and then get into a sales meeting that they don't let you out of. And then find out that you don't like that when you could go to something that I know meets your criteria.
Right.
So good.
What I liked
Exactly.
was, and Barb, you mentioned this. We told you exactly what we wanted to spend, where we wanted to be, and you stuck to those areas. We were limited because of that, but you didn't want to waste our time, and you didn't want to waste your own time. And I'm
Yeah.
grateful that you did that.
Well, I don't understand why agents do that, as I said before, because it shows that you're not listening. Now, sometimes you have to show people this is what you could get for this price, and it's got a hole in the roof, and you'll never get a loan on it. But you have to show them that. But your price range was reasonable, so there was stuff to show you. There was no reason for me to try to get a higher commission.
And when we were selling our house, I saw all the realtors coming in with all their clients, and it was, and I think more than 2/3 of them were just showing them our house, because even though I think it was out of their price range, or there was something that they didn't want, because they were trying to fill up their day. And you're wasting everyone's time filling up someone's day. Just show what you want.
Yeah, but there are some times where people really want to see something and they're not direct with you about what they need. So you're showing them things and they're saying, well, that's outside my price range, but it is. What I liked about you guys is you were both extremely direct with me. So I could not do anything else other than show you what you needed and what met your individual criteria.
Well, I know. I was definitely focused.
Yes. You were the most focused I've ever seen. That was wonderful.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
By the way, the other thing I liked was that rainy day when you picked me up, you had a folder with you. And that folder contained a bunch of other properties that were not new construction, that were resales in fairly new communities. This was the other thing that we might want to mention. I forget the date, but all post that date when there were laws put into place about hurricane builds.
Well, double pane windows was, and better construction to the roof. I'm not a contractor, but that is what I've heard. And I usually try to, if you're going to go older, 2009 and better is usually a good rule of thumb.
So all of your folder properties were even more recent than that. So it gave me basically the option of saying, okay, it's a resale for me. But one of the things you were trying to also show me is that in some of these communities where there are HOA fees and all that to consider, if you buy a resale, you're still buying somebody else's house, and it's not that much of a price differential.
Very often, yes.
And here you're buying brand new. You're getting the warranty, and to Stuart's point, you're going in on the ground floor and you're becoming like part of the neighborhood. You're becoming, you're meeting people when they're meeting people.
You get to help shape the neighborhood with your neighbors.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm going to ask you now, do you have any final thoughts about me being obviously the best realtor for over 55 in Central Florida?
I think the hardest working for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's going through the process of selling our house and dealing with our realtor in New Jersey. You get to see a big difference in Victor. And Victor, you really separate yourself from everyone else.
That's nice to hear.
You are the hardest working realtor I've ever seen. You
Thank
listen to your clients. If your clients are steering off the road, you try to help them as best you can to straighten themselves out and get back on that road. Sometimes they'll listen, a couple people who didn't listen exactly, but you were able to navigate through that and help them out to the best of your ability, which is greater than anyone else out there.
That's terrific. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Gosh, it's great to hear these things. You know, you don't know exactly what your impact is, but I'm really pleased with both of you because I love the community you purchased in. I think it's going to just get better and better as it grows, and you both got nice views and good lots and everything. So anyway, and I really like the way they built your house with all this without, like you said, nickel and diming you, but you got great features in it. So I just want to thank you for your time today. And I'll be talking to you soon, I'm sure. And thanks everybody for watching. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Making the dream of a Disney lifestyle a reality. I'm Victor Naraki. Contact me on Facebook at Naraki Realtor or my website, celebratingflorida.com. Thanks for watching Disney at your doorstep.